live stream podcast last week. New UCLA football coach Bob Chesney is officially on the clock. Chesney's 2-year run at James Madison ended Saturday with their loss at Oregon in the first round of the college football playoffs. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
From the Bay, I rep it hard. I'm known worldwide, but I blew up from my backyard. I'm from the Bay, that's Northern Cal. They like my songs, they like my smile, they like my style. Let's go, this ain't nothing you ain't heard before. I put a new twist on the stuff from '06. This ain't nothing you ain't heard before. I got a little story, go something like this. This ain't nothing you ain't heard before. I put a new twist on the stuff from '06. This ain't nothing you ain't heard before. Even if you heard it, you ain't heard it like this. It was 2006, I recall. Fresh white tee and it's Chris, I recall. Floaty drop, tell me when to go that winter. It was all on the flow that winter. The short came through and blow the whistle for the summer. You wasn't outside back then, what a bummer. Nokia phones and H2 Hummers. Hey, little mama, can I get your number? Bay, I rep it hard. I'm known worldwide, but I blew up from my backyard.
KBLA Talk 1580. This is First Things First, and I'm James Farr, and I'm sitting in for the Queen Dominique DePrima, and you know that song right there. I'm sorry. I think they just called it. One more. Bring that back up, Miles.
Roll call, Hayward. Roll call, San Jose. Roll call, EPA. I'm from the Bay.
I'm missing home right now. Dominique is also from the Bay, but y'all didn't tune in. You're not tuning in to listen to all of that, right? And me miss home through the music of La Russell, who I think is one of the as a new MC, he describes his music as life music, and it is refreshing. Some of the language lands a little bit differently for this Gen Xer, and but in terms of he's not killing people on record, so I really appreciate just that good energy that he puts out. But we got to get to some national stuff, and joining me this morning in studio, he's an educator, an organizer, and someone who understands how policy decisions land in real people's lives. Bryant Odega is a lifelong resident of Harbor City Gateway, the son of Nigerian immigrants, a UCLA graduate, and one of the youngest Black Angelenos to ever run for Los Angeles City Council office. He's an organizer on climate justice, and He has served in his community and at the neighborhood council level. And today, I want to talk about some national things. Good morning, Bryant. How are you doing this morning, brother?
Good morning, James. I'm feeling a bit more restful after, I guess, we're starting our break now for LEOC, so feeling pretty good.
As an educator, first of all, I didn't realize that we got you up on a Monday. So thank you so much, because you could have been anywhere else in the world, including your bed right now.
Yeah.
But you chose to be here with us. One of the things that I'm curious, and I want to get to this national stuff. We got a whole list of stuff to cover.
Okay.
But I'm always curious why someone would become a teacher, an educator.
Yeah, that's a great question. And it was a question I wrestled when I was applying for grad school. Mm-hmm. Too, because, we see the state of teaching today with impacts of, school budgets going down. We see the work that teachers have to struggle with in terms of class sizes and limited resources, etc. And I think for me, I was called to be a teacher when I was at UCLA. I was in the labor studies program, and we studied Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Brazilian educator Paulo Freire, where he was talking about how we can use education, literacy, to empower the working class to change their lives and the lives of the communities around them. Mm-hmm. And learning that was huge for me as a working class person who grew up not having the most positive experience sometimes in public education. Mm-hmm. And it was then where I realized the power that educators can have in creating real change. And so between high school and elementary school, I worked at the Boys and Girls Club with elementary school kids, which was fun.
But you said I want to pin something, right? Because something jumped out right off at me, right? Mm-hmm. And this kind of ties back to what Dr. Abdullah was saying in terms of purpose. Mm. You said you were called.
Yeah.
What was I mean? Can you articulate it? Can you where were you? What was that moment when you realized that was your purpose?
Yeah, I think so. It was definitely when. My professor, Raymond Rocco, who was also at UCLA, my professor of labor studies and talked about community organizing. He talked about basically like the educators that cause like trouble, like good trouble. And I was like,
I've read about you, bro. We gonna get there.
And like that resonates. I want to be that teacher that stirs the waters, and shifts minds and moves students the way that I was moved by my professor.
Has it amounted to what you thought it would be? Because there's one thing to say, hey, I want to be a teacher, right? Or I want to be whatever, right? I want to be a radio host, right? And then the reality of when you're actually in it has I guess the juice been worth the squeeze?
I've read a lot about the profession, and so there are some things I was aware about. Mm-hmm. Like I knew that as soon as I became a teacher, that I was going to join a union so we can, organize to protect our rights and funding. And it's one thing to know, it's another to experience, right? It is a struggle. Mm-hmm. Like I feel as teachers, we are intellectuals. We're highly, we're educated. We care about our subjects. That's why a lot of us are in this job. But we also have to deal with, the administrative stuff, all the trainings, all the online, digital videos that we have to watch, the PDs. Like there's so much paperwork. And then there's also the politics of it, from this federal administration, from a variety of forces, and then also, the pay, it's not sustainable either. But what keeps me going is, entering the classroom. Like I'm so stressed on my way to school because I'm listening to the news as well. Not the best idea maybe every morning, but as soon as I step into that classroom, it's like, everything else doesn't matter, because here we can, create a different world. And, there's deep learning, but there's also laughter, there's joy, there's stories. I learned so much from my students, and it's a deep honor to be able to share space with all these young folks who are entrusting you with their education. And so that's what really keeps me going.
That's Bryant Odega, and class is in session this morning. We had Dr. Abdullah earlier. Y'all getting it at the collegiate level, university level, and now we're in the you're a high school, high school teacher, right? And I don't like saying teacher. I think it edifies and honors what you do in a way. Teaching is an action to me, you know, educating is an existence, and that's what I'm hearing from you. We're going to continue this conversation when we come forward. I'm James Farr. Miles Lowe is back there somewhere on the boards, and Brian Odega is here with me. We got to talk about these Jeffrey Epstein and a bunch of other things when we come forward. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
I got the champagne. Everybody can laugh.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates our own Keith Underwood, host of the weekend entertainment show Black in the Green Room, on his recent honor at the annual National Arts and Entertainment Journalism Awards. Keith received a first place award presented by the Los Angeles Press Club for his entertainment reporting, and we couldn't be prouder. Congratulations, Keith, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with the world. African Focus Incorporated is a community-based organization whose mission is to bring Africans and African Americans together, lead charitable initiatives on the motherland, and educate people from all walks of life on the beauty, legacy, and opportunity of Africa's 54 nations. And it's that time once again when African Focus is teaming up with KBLA Talk 1580 for our 8th annual African Focus Trailblazers Tour. Travel with us in 2026 when we're headed to the southern African nations of Zambia and Botswana for a historical, cultural, and vacation tour led by me, Dominique DePrima, Cultural Ambassador for African Focus Incorporated. Enjoy luxurious accommodations, conscious fellow travelers, shopping, adventures, cultural tours, wildlife safaris, and a giant waterfall, one of the world's 7 wonders, along with a chance to be of service at an orphanage on the continent. Become an AFI trailblazer by exploring the motherland with a nonprofit organization that has members in Africa and America to help roll out the red carpet for you, and together we'll make a difference and have fun doing it. For more information, visit africanfocus.org or call 310-676-7300. That's 310-676-7300 or africanfocus.org. Whether it's stateside or exploring the diaspora, we're with you every step of the way. African Focus and KBLA Talk 1580. Come go with us.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
That's right. Now you're getting back to James Farr. I'm sitting in for the Queen, Dominique DePrima. You too can join this conversation live on the phone, right? Like, go ahead and give us a call, 800-920-1580. That's 1-800-920-1580. The chats are always popping on First Things First. I see the chair lady, Molly Bell, is in there holding court and making sure that y'all behave in that space. But right now, my guest is Brian Odega. He's an educator, an activist, and quietly said he prefers good trouble, and that's kind of how he's existed in the classroom. We were talking off air, Brian. You know, we're going to get to this national stuff, but I think sometimes the stuff that happens between when we're there is like so rich. And
Right.
You asked me how I got into radio, and obviously KBLA delegation would be familiar with me from hosting Conversation Live Altadena Rising every Saturday right here on this station at 10 a.m. where we're chronicling and documenting. We're the show of record, right? Every week, 42 episodes Now, we have been on the ground in communities, in town halls, and then coming up on January 7th, which will be the 1-year commemoration of that deadly and devastating night where, upwards of 25,000 people have been displaced from their homes. 19 souls perished in that fire. Black folks have lost a sense of community. I personally know over 200 families that lost everything. It's my community. I live in very close proximity to the power lines that started that fire. And so every day I have a visual reminder. It's almost like, and I've said that on air on my show, I've written about it, I've said it other places. It is literally like looking at the loaded gun that wiped out your family, right? It sits on it's like sitting, just like I sat that pin there. I walk out my house and I see those towers going up into the foothills. But that's how I got into radio in this capacity. And so for me, it is not for an applause, right? Right. It's for a cause. Right. It's not for glory. Right. It's not for it's about the story. Right. It's not a conventional or traditional way to get into radio. But none of those people, good people, wanted any of this. No. They didn't volunteer, they didn't sign up. And so when you talk about purpose, you talk about that calling, I could certainly appreciate that, because sometimes things are assigned to us and we look around and like, why am I here? Yeah. Why? This is a lot. Yeah. I imagine being in the classroom every with night. Kids. This is risky. Right. Anything can happen. But I could do something else. But when you serve in that way. So that's that short answer. To your question. We were supposed to be talking about the Jeffrey Epstein files, and we are going to talk about them, right? There's Department of Justice just released a new batch of what is now more redactions, right. Of files. We see that Trump's picture has been removed, and they're anticipating releasing more documents, but with more redactions. What in the, as my mama would say, Sam Hill is going on with the Jeffrey Epstein files?
Yeah, I think, one major thing that's going on is a cover-up, right? If you look at, I haven't had a chance to look through all the files because it's a pretty ghastly enterprise, but what I do know is that a lot of the names of the perpetrators of these acts of sexual violence have also been redacted, right? They are being protected, covered for, whereas some of the victims, their names are listed, even against the wishes of those victims. And so it's putting the victims out there, right, for for the maggots, right? And it's,
you said maggots. I heard that.
Yes, because it's like a cult of personality, where they come after anyone who dares challenges the image or likeness of their leader or their master. And it's a cover up, for the president. And what I think is also really interesting for the folks we do know who are in a lot of these images, right? These are folks who also tend to have huge influence over our society. One of them is a guy named Larry Summers, who was the former president of Harvard University. And
that's a big one.
Yeah. And also he worked in I can't remember his position in the White House, but huge influence over policy, huge influence over our institutions, and these folks serve in different boards, and so it's like you have this culture of of greed, of power, and of abuse. In comes with all of that.
But how does that turn into pedophilia, right? I mean, greed, capitalism, right? You know, even lying, right? I mean, there are a lot of things that people can be. Pedophilia, trafficking children. You said a cover up. What are they? What do you think they're covering up?
Yeah, I think they're covering up, like Donald Trump himself, because this would be, this is a party that, claims to care about like family values, that claims to care about protecting children, that claims to have all these, Christian, like this Christian identity, this Christian like nationalist identity, and yet when you look at, these files and what we know is in these files, right, that is a huge contrast to the image and the narrative that's put out there. And I think, how do these folks end up in, in this realm of pedophilia? I think, we live in a society that claims to care about children, but really doesn't. Our children are actually very vulnerable. They don't have the access to power, the language to advocate for themselves. And oftentimes, parents, like folks need to be, better parents, like letting these folks hang out with, like I think of, there was a picture of Michael Jackson and Diana with his kids and Diana Ross's children. And this discourse around, these folks should have known better than to let their children in proximity with these grown people. I think that's one part of it. I think in terms of the sex trafficking, I think society we need to be more vigilant and mindful of our children, and we need to also advocate. This has been going on for a long time, and these folks who are in these positions, who may be directly implicated or maybe in proximity, just awareness. Right, think of the P. Diddy situation as well, who chose not to say anything.
Well, see, first of all, I'm not defending Puff, right? Any of that, none of that. But I'm gonna draw the line on pedophilia, right? Like I don't want to conflate what we saw in video, right? Yeah. Despicable, right? Yeah. And then whatever his proclivities are, I'm not going to judge him on that. But I don't want to run that intersection of pedophilia and a freak and an abuser, right? What I see, right, through these Edison files, it kind of makes me think, I wonder what if there were something, let's go back to, let's say 1770, kind of leading up to you see where I'm going with this? 1776, right? What if there were Philadelphia files, right? Where the Declaration of Independence was signed, right? I think of Jefferson.
Yeah.
Sally, you see where I'm going. Like, so the pedophilia is kind of in their DNA.
Yeah. I think it's part of a culture, a culture of dominance, and it's also as you mentioned, unfortunately, it's uniquely, like, it's also American too. My AP African American Studies class, I have my students, we read the broadsides, the posters where they're advertising enslaved African Americans to be sold off into slavery. And there's ages from like a few months old to 99 years old, and my students would notice that on some of the posters it would say things like extra likely or likely, and sort of asking, what does that
mean? Yeah,
right.
What does that
so these terms are often used to describe perceived fertility of enslaved, of women, of girls and women who are in captivity, and also perceived attractiveness. And so, this is unfortunately an age-old culture in American society that has yet to be fully rooted out.
Is this I read, I think it was The Hill that reported this, that Senator Rand Paul was saying that it's going to be more problematic for the Republicans because they ginned up, Trump ginned up this whole Epstein. I mean, he ran on it, and now, they're redacting after it was out. And, is this, because we're going to talk about the midterms, when we come forward a little bit later, Jasmine Crockett, and kind of why the importance of the midterms. Do you see this kind of intersecting going towards impacting the midterms?
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think there's been a number of things that have been moving folks who voted for Trump to now shift. Right? I think this Trump Epstein files is a huge one of those points of contention because of just the imagery, right? Of this guy, with with these children, the imagery of this guy, close relationship with, Jeffrey, who, who's, a sex trafficker. Convicted, right? All these imageries, all of these, the emails, right? The text, the pictures, the videos. I think, words have one way to move people, right? Images, right, is another. And so you have to shift. There's certain things people can only tolerate so much, right? I think pedophilia is definitely one of those lines that, for some of us.
Hey, you saw me. Abusive, drug addict, a freak.
Right.
Not pedophilia.
Yeah. But now it's also, with the economy, right? Unemployment is rising. People's paychecks are, being stretched, further and further beyond, limits. Rise of cost of housing, of affordability, of groceries, etc. I think all these issues are going to be huge factors in the midterm race, especially since historically the party that's in the White House often loses, the majority in Congress. And so I think these trends are definitely going to continue, especially so with how damaging to the state, to the government, this president has been, from Jeffrey to the cost of living.
When we come forward, I'm joined in studio right now by Bryant Odega, activist, educator, sharp. He's well learned, well read. Discussing the Epstein files, we're going to get more into a conversation about the midterm elections that's coming up. Kind of want to see what stories nationally, kind of in a year in review, kind of reflective look back. I know many Americans are saying that affordable health care is going to be the biggest issue in the next coming year. Stay with us. We're going to continue this conversation. I'm James Farr. Miles Lowe is back there on the boards. Thank you so much, Miles. I think I'm holding it down. I ain't broke it yet.
Do your thing, baby.
Do your thing, baby. All right. When we come forward, we're going to continue this conversation. Only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got your black.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News. Now, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is defending redactions in the first batch of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Appearing on NBC's Meet the Press, Blanche says the focus remains on protecting victims.
We're going through a very methodical process with hundreds of lawyers looking at every single document and making sure that victims' names and any of the information from victims is protected and redacted.
The initial release has drawn criticism from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. More than 120,000 utility customers were without power in San Francisco Saturday. Officials say the outage was triggered by a fire inside a PG&E power substation. And new data from the CDC shows nearly 5 million flu illnesses have been reported nationwide so far this season. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Chargers move closer to qualifying for the AFC playoffs with their 34-17 win at Dallas Sunday. If Indianapolis loses at home tonight to Houston, the Chargers are in. If Indianapolis wins tonight, the Chargers can lock up a playoff spot next Sunday with a win over Houston at SoFi Stadium. Impressive day for Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert, 23 of 29 for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Herbert ran 1 yard for another TD. The Chargers have won 4 straight. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua was hit with a $25,000 fined by the NFL for making critical comments about the referees. Nacua made the comments during a live stream podcast last week. New UCLA football coach Bob Chesney is officially on the clock. Chesney's 2-year run at James Madison ended Saturday with their loss at Oregon in the first round of the college football playoffs. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you coughing a lot, especially at night? Are you often short of breath? Are you using your rescue inhaler often? These could be signs that your asthma is not under control. To keep your asthma in check and help prevent an asthma attack, ask your healthcare provider for an asthma action plan. This is a personalized plan you create with your doctor that shows you what to do and what medicines to help control your asthma and to use when you're having a hard time breathing or when you're having an asthma attack. Please don't wait until you're having an asthma attack. Do something about it now. Schedule a visit with your healthcare provider today to make that action plan and take control of your asthma. For more tips and resources on the management of asthma, visit luma-edu.com. This message is brought to you by Amgen and AstraZeneca.
One year ago, flames tore through Altadena and Eaton Canyon, changing lives forever. From the ashes, can a beloved community rise stronger? Hi, I'm Dominique DePrima, host of First Things First, weekday mornings, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., here on KBLA Talk 1580. And I'm inviting you to join us on Wednesday, January 7th, as we broadcast live from Perry's Joint on the 1-year anniversary of this horrific and devastating fire. We're remembering those we lost, celebrating the heroes and sheroes who answered the call, and honoring the resilience of neighbors who are determined to rebuild together.
I've been a strong black woman a long time, and I can't just break down now.
Hear the stories of survival, the voices of recovery, the spirit of community that the fire couldn't destroy, and yes, the angst of those who still do not know where they go from here.
Yeah, where am I go?
At KBLA Talk 1580, we don't just cover the story, we're part of this community, and we've done our level best to hold those responsible for this fire accountable. And 1 year later, we're still standing together.
It is my hopes that black people will rebuild those homes.
So join us live at Perry's Joint, 2051 Lincoln Avenue in Pasadena, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. on Wednesday, January 7th, as we commemorate the 1-year anniversary of the Altadena Eaton Canyon fire. Because some stories demand to be remembered.
This too shall pass.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio. KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. I'm James Farr. I'm sitting in for Dominique DePrima on First Things First. It's just 2 days before Christmas. Man, I swear it feels like this has been the longest January ever. and we're already back just a few weeks from January, from a new year. My guest this morning is Brian Odega. He's an educator, an activist, solid brother. You know, I'm enjoying the conversations between the breaks, and it's one of the perks of, you know, doing this kind of work. You get to meet so many amazing people and find out what their drivers are. But, you know, we're not talking about puppies and kittens and flowers and stuff like that. We're talking about real things that have real life consequences and affect everyone, even though everyone isn't paying attention. So it's people like you that hold the space and that agency and, you know, go out and get the information, right? So midterm elections are coming up, right? Yeah. And that's a very important thing that's happening. You know, we had Prop 50 pass earlier this year here in the state of California, which will give, I believe it's 5 more seats here in the state. And, you know, why is that important? And then we see what's happening in Texas with like Jasmine Crockett. So let's first Prop 50, right? Because as California goes, so goes the nation, right? So that was that trend. Why was 50 important, and why does that matter to midterms with someone like Jasmine Crockett?
Yeah, so I'm part of the California Teachers Association, which is the largest union in California, and you know we were one of the sponsors of that campaign for Prop 50, which was triggered in response to Republicans in Texas and to this president who are trying to politically and racially gerrymander these districts, these states to wipe out really like black representation and overall Democratic voter representation, and to cement Republican minority rule over America. And so it was important for us as Californians to flex our own muscle, our own political muscle, resources to fight back and balance the scales, because we cannot afford, you know, several more years of no funding for affordable health care, of this, you know, of ICE, of giving them, you know, more and more budgets. We cannot afford all of the things in which the Project 2025 agenda. And so, you know, Prop 50, the success was also a testament to the work of workers, of activists, of many folks who came out to volunteer to canvass. And we were able to win what is typically a very not super like sexy election topic, you know, gerrymandering. But we're able to do it, and we're able to win. And so,
well, for the record, well, I did vote yes.
Thank you.
I did not support the bill.
Okay.
I did not. I was not a fan of changing the rules.
Yeah.
And that. Maybe saying changing the rules is not fair, right? But we historically have seen white folks change the rules, which have disenfranchised us. And so my concern before it passed and going forward, and I'm counting on you, my younger brother here, right, to make sure that this isn't lost in that, because typically when these districts are redrawn, you give white folks an inch, they will run the whole mile, right? And so the future informs me that they're going to forget. And in a state like California, where we already are seeing a decline and black population.
Yeah.
I want to make sure, and I'm going to call you in 20 years and say, Brother Odega, I need you to hold them accountable, because that funding that you're talking, all the things, and as they say, all the things, all the things are going to be in those things, and that's what's going to suffer. And I want to make sure that why does that matter into the midterms? And you said you wanted to talk about Jasmine Crockett.
Yeah, that's a good point. And for Prop 50, so thankfully it's a temporary solution, so it will. So it's not a permanent.
I don't trust that though.
Right. But that's right. It's on us, right, to ensure that is the case, because nonpartisan map redistricting is a good thing. And we don't want politicians deciding who their voters are. And so why does it matter for midterms? So unfortunately, because of the gerrymandering that is being done in Texas, Jasmine Crockett, who's currently a member of Congress, the way the maps have been drawn has her district is pretty much going to be really difficult for her to win, basically wiping her out. And so I think in her words, can't remember what she said exactly. Basically, they're trying to take her district. She's going to take, a U.S. Senate seat. And so there's a few other folks who are in that race right now. There's a current Texas State Rep, James Tellerico, who is a pastor, who I think is doing a really good job at countering that white nationalist ideology with a Christian doctrine that is a bit more aligned with the actual Bible.
Okay, let me say this.
Yeah, go ahead.
How many black women have been in the U.S. Senate?
I think there's. So we have had VP Harris. There was, I think, U.S. Illinois before Obama. We had our Butler from California. Definitely less than 5. I count 3.
But so now we're looking at the 4th, and I don't do identity politics. Crockett out of Texas, winning the Senate. Is that the best use of her energy? I'm keeping it real. I understand what happened, and she needs to do something. I get the popularity. I like the sister, right? I like everything, how she shows up. I'm like, okay, sis, I see you. But we often hear, this is the most important election of our lives. Vote or die. If you don't vote this time, I'm sick of people getting gaslit on this is the one that counts. What happened to the last one that counted? So my question is it the best use of her energy to run for Senate, considering, and I get it will require a radical imagination to get the changes that we want, right?
Right.
But you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear you. I think that's a really good question. I think there's a number of things that she could do. Right, she can do a PAC where she can support progressives running, across the country, because she has a huge national profile and fundraising base. I think it's a good thing, that it's not necessarily a bad decision to run for U.S. Senate. According to polls, I think she's barely a bit over 50%, and I think if she runs a strong campaign with a strong, effective message that is aspirational, not just about Republicans are bad, but actually this is what I'm going to deliver for you, health care for all, affordable housing, no more funding forever wars, right? That I think enough people can potentially shift and, elect her. Look at Zohran Mamdani in New York City, which of course isn't the same as Texas, but also Zohran, he was polling at 1%, right, almost a year prior to the election. And, you have a Muslim brother who's, full-blown, unapologetically, socialist candidate. And, he wins not just, he wins and he expands the electorate, getting more men back into the fold, tapping into, Muslims, tapping to working class folks, even Jewish people, right, winning a huge number of their support, even as he was very strong and consistent on Palestine and opposition to the genocide. And so I think, if Jasmine is able to speak to the heart of the issues that people care about, right, housing, healthcare, ending these forever wars, I think that she has a winning chance. And this will be good for, and also even if she doesn't win, for the down ballot races, I think, her energizing the base can help pull up folks running for Congress, for school board, etc. down ballot.
When we come forward, I want to continue this conversation. Definitely, I want to find out what was that one or two news stories that just stood out for you in the last year. Also, let's talk about United Teachers Association, your union that you're a part of, and the work that you're doing. I was aghast to find out that teachers in Los Angeles, and because I think they make more money. I know they certainly make more money than perhaps somewhere in
Cedars-Sinai is helping shape the future of Los Angeles, working alongside local communities and showing up with resources and healthcare programs that open doors for people across the city. Through career development programs like Next Gen Healthcare Pathways and partnerships with over 200 organizations like Black Men in White Coats, Cedars-Sinai is educating and empowering future healthcare leaders right here in LA. With access to education, mentorships, and hands-on experiences, we can build a healthier Los Angeles together. Cedars-Sinai, here for LA.
In California, all workers have rights, no matter their immigration status. If you or a family member were detained by federal immigration authorities and did not receive your final paycheck, contact the Labor Commissioner's office. You can file a claim even if you left California or the U.S. Call 833-526-4636 from the U.S. or outside the country 001-833-526-4636. Document wage theft and report it to the Labor Commissioner's office.
It all comes down to this, folks.
Yep, the entire season is on the line. But my throat has officially thrown in the towel.
Sounds like you need Vicks VapoCool drops. They're max strength and vaporize sore throat pain.
Whoa! These VapoCool drops hit fast.
Speaking of fast, did you just see that play?
Yeah, he vaporized that ball.
That pun should have come with a penalty.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks VapoCool drops. Use as directed.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline nasal spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
We've got a lot to talk about.
I'm Reverend Gerald, the life coach. Is someone you love struggling with addiction and mental illness? Is improving your family's health important? Want to leave a legacy that your family can grow? Are you ready to enhance your perception of life experiences? Then wake up weekends at 7 a.m. with Urban Family Focus and get the wisdom, opportunity, resources, and motivation to live your best life. Join the conversation on Urban Family Focus Saturday and Sunday at 7 a.m.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
KBLA 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminds you, when we fight, we win. The Youth Justice Coalition is challenging America's addiction to incarceration and discrimination. YJC works to dismantle policies leading to mass incarceration, law enforcement violence, and the school-to-prison pipeline. Their approach, transformative justice, community intervention, free LA high school, legal defense, and system monitoring. YJC promotes safety without relying on prisons. Their goal, prevent system contact and help people exit the system through direct action, advocacy, and education. Want to get involved or need help? Call 323-235-4243. That's 323-235-4243. Join YJC in creating change. When we fight, we win. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice for justice. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
That's right. Hate definitely meets its scholarly match, and I got a scholar right here in studio with me in Leimert Park. His name is Brian Odega, and he's an educator and an activist, and you know, we disagreed a little bit off air about a couple of things. You know, I wasn't with the gerrymandering thing with Prop 50, but I am glad it passed, though, man. So thank you for your work and your advocacy. But I told you I'm gonna hold you to account on that future part of it. Talking about you know, the black workforce and the work that you're doing with the, you know, United Teachers. And I was telling you, you know, I could not believe that the folks that we pay in this city, you know, in these municipalities and all these areas that are under the sound of my voice, that teachers don't, I mean, we hear that, but I think I heard you, right? Like, I really heard you. What's happening in that space?
Yeah, so I'm a proud member of United Teachers Los Angeles, which is the largest teacher local in California, led by our powerful union president, Cecily Mayar Cruz, the first Afro-Latina to lead this union. And, you know, we are in a huge battle with this district. You know, we have declared an impasse. So UT has been bargaining for a long time with LUSD, and the district has refused to agree with some of our core demands, especially when it comes to salaries. Why does it matter? You know, a first-year teacher, right? That's someone who has a bachelor's degree, maybe a bachelor's degree and a credential, maybe a master's degree as well, and other qualifications and certificates. They cannot afford to rent a one-bedroom apartment in not a single area of Los Angeles. Right, these are folks who have dedicated time, training, specialization.
Bachelor's, master's.
Right, a credential.
Maybe
a certificate or two. Right, can't afford to rent a single bedroom apartment in not a single area of Los Angeles. And these are the folks who are responsible for educating. You know, almost all of us have been educated by a teacher. Right, these are folks who have huge influence and impact, and yet we give them the bare minimum to survive, right? There's teachers who are working second jobs, you know, driving Uber or DoorDash. Even myself, I'm looking at, you know, working at Macy's again on the weekends. I'm kind of laughing, but also like very serious because of, you know, rent keeps going up, wages aren't meeting the cost, and, you know, something has to budge. And, you know, when it's bad for teachers and counselors, it's really bad for our bus drivers, who are represented by SCIU Local 99, our school bus drivers, our cafeteria food workers, janitors, all those who also make our education system run. They have also declared an impasse because the district is offering, you know, all us workers, like I think a 1 or 2% salary increase, which is a slap in the face, because, you know, inflation is definitely more than that. Cost of living is definitely more than that, and the district has the money, right? That's the the issue here.
That's the part
$5 billion.
That's what the part I don't understand. The money is there.
The money is there. $5 billion.
It's always
Big
been
B.
there. Yeah. Wow. Top news story. We're getting hard on the time, brother.
Okay.
We could do this for a while. is that one national story? God, I know you can pick from a lot.
Yeah.
But what's the one that just pops out right now?
Yeah, so we have electoral politics, and Jeffrey Epstein, which of course, as it should, right, dominate people's attention because these are issues that matter.
Mm-hmm.
What also folks should be paying close attention to is big tech and AI and this huge expansion, this accelerated expansion of data centers,
Mm-hmm.
which are predominantly impacting Black communities across the country, especially in the South. You were talking about polluting the air, polluting the water, huge water demands, and also huge demand on the energy, and devastation to the environment, destroying forests to make room for these data centers. And so why should people pay attention? We should pay attention because big tech is also invested in our political system, funding candidates, funding politicians like Trump, getting front row seats at his inauguration to ensure that big tech is able to do whatever it wants to do without much accountability, scrutiny, or change. And this is an issue for Black Americans because it's our communities that are being most impacted. We're already most impacted by environmental devastation as it is. And so we got to pay attention to that. And immigration. Immigration oftentimes is not thought of as a Black issue, but it is. I'm a child of Black immigrants. My father was deported when I was a kid, and Trump is weaponizing ICE to go after Somalians, after Haitians, after many of our Black immigrant siblings. And they're also not going to stop at immigrants, of course, right? They're also using the same forces, same powers to police, to further expand the police state and police, Black bodies, no matter national or immigration origin. And so those are two main issues that I think folks should pay attention to.
That's the voice of Bryant Odega, an activist and educator. For me, it was the fire. That is the biggest story of the year for me.
Yeah.
There are many others that, come close, but it is the fire in the Altadena, Pasadena community and the destruction and devastation of Black lives and Black homeowners and Black wealth and generational wealth. That is a national story for
Absolutely.
me. That is a global story for me, and all the things as we talked about.
Right.
How can people get in touch with you?
Yes, so folks can look me up, Bryant Odega, Bryant Odega. I have a website, or you can follow me on Instagram under the same name, Bryant Odega.
Brother, I appreciate it. It was a pleasure to meet you, right? And I look
Likewise,
forward
James.
to continuing this opportunity. When we come forward, y'all know it is a Black Marriage Monday. And if you know what I know and you know how to make it work, you know that nothing matters but that Black marriage. Stay with us only on KBLA Talk 1580. We got you, Black.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Misty Jordan with BIN News. Now, Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche is defending redactions in the first batch of files related to Jeffrey Epstein. Appearing on NBC's Meet the Press, Blanche says the focus remains on protecting victims.
We're going through a very methodical process with hundreds of lawyers looking at every single document and making sure that victims' names and any of the information from victims is protected and redacted.
The initial release has drawn criticism from lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. More than 120,000 utility customers were without power in San Francisco Saturday. Officials say the outage was triggered by a fire inside a PG&E power substation. And new data from the CDC shows nearly 5 million flu illnesses have been reported nationwide so far this season. Get BIN News now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice: continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man.
The Chargers move closer to qualifying for the AFC playoffs with their 34-17 win at Dallas Sunday. If Indianapolis loses at home tonight to Houston, the Chargers are in. If Indianapolis wins tonight, the Chargers can lock up a playoff spot next Sunday with a win over Houston at SoFi Stadium. Impressive day for Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert, 23 of 29 for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns. Herbert ran 1 yard for another TD. The Chargers have won 4 straight. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua was hit with a $25,000 fine by the NFL for making critical comments about the referees. Nacua made the comments during a live stream podcast last week. New UCLA football coach Bob Chesney is officially on the clock. Chesney's 2-year run at James Madison ended Saturday with their loss at Oregon in the first round of the college football playoffs. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This holiday season, KBLA Talk 1580 wishes you and yours joy, peace, and prosperity. As we celebrate with family and friends, we're already looking forward to an exciting first quarter, packed with must-attend events to kick off the new year just right. In January, join us for our inaugural Brotherhood Brunch, bringing together community leaders, change makers, and everyday people for inspiration and connection. February means it's time for our signature Black History Month luncheon, a powerful celebration you won't want to miss. And in March, Women's History Month, we're once again hosting our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium and Luncheon, addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.